Welcome to another podcast of The Rise, presented by Machiavelli. Today, I have a very special guest, my man, Garry Johnson the Third. Gotta get that right.
That's right.
But Garry, as I said on my stories, if you watch my stories, Garry is a serial entrepreneur who's had a tremendous effect already in the Black, Latino, minority community as a whole within Delaware, period. How old are you, Garry? You're 23?
24.
24. So you've been doing this since what, 18, 19?
I mean...
Because you were influential still when we did BHLP. So side note, coming into college, me and Garry did a leadership program with University of Delaware, and that was where I first met Garry. And I was kind of more of like the student in there that was like, let me just have fun. And I always seen Garry always take it to the next level with doing the right thing, doing what he had to do and doing extra, more than what anyone had ever told him to do. He was always at the entrepreneur, buildings and the offices, networking and talking to all the big people, and I'd be like I don't care about these people. And that was my stupid mindset then, but I had always took note of it, and I was always like, damn, Garry's really serious about his shit. So I always appreciate you for that, or not appreciated, but admired.
Hey man, no, I appreciate that. And it's like you said about being the person that's doing more. It was never about doing more for me. It was about doing what I like to do.
Of course.
So it was just that wasn't.
But that's who you are.
Yeah, that was just natural. It wasn't like I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. It wasn't.
No. I didn't mean it like that.
And I know that. I know you weren't. But it's funny too because I would see you and what you were doing, and I would admire what you were doing in the business world as well. So we were in similar circles because we were two gentlemen about our business.
Of course. Well, I appreciate that greatly.
Absolutely.
Especially coming from someone like that.
Yeah, man. Of course.
So, getting into that, you started, what was your first entrepreneurial experience? Because you've done a lot of these, you've created Founders, which is, you call it Urban Vest, right?
So, yeah, I have a company called Urban Vest. And
okay.
Everything I do kind of falls under that.
Okay, so let's get back to that.
Yeah.
So you've done that. You've done with Rising Kings, which is pitch competition for minorities and Black students within Wilmington community. You're a mentor. What are some other things?
Yeah. So I guess my first entrepreneurial experience. Unlike a lot of entrepreneurs and business people, they'll start with a story. They're like, oh, when I was in elementary school, I would sell candy to all the kids in my school. That wasn't me. I never sold anything. But when I was in middle school, my mom was an entrepreneur. Okay. Right? So she created a business to support her family, me and my other siblings. As a single mom, you know what I mean? She wanted the best for us.
Of course. So
her business was basically a property clean-out business. So she rented out a U-Haul truck, and since she was in the real estate industry, she saw a need to actually clean out these houses before they're ready to be sold from the market. So she would get that U-Haul truck. Very smart, very smart.
And she did this in Delaware?
She did it in Pennsylvania.
In PA.
Yep, so I'm originally from PA.
Okay.
A lot of people actually think I'm from Delaware just because I went
to...
I was born in Chester, Pennsylvania, but I lived in Philly.
I remember we had that conversation a little bit.
Yeah, so I've kind of lived all over the place. So it's always interesting when people ask me where I'm from. But anyway, yeah, so she bought this truck, and every weekend she would pack us into this truck, and we drive around to different houses and clean them out, right? So you can imagine just, a mom and her 3 kids, like me being in 7th grade, my brother is a year younger than me, and then my little sister, who was probably 3 at the time. And we would just go around and just house to house, cleaning, literally.
And you would help her?
Oh yeah, we were her employees.
She was the boss. Pay you, or
we were? We were paid in food.
Of course.
And a house.
I asked that because you're a part of that business, but sure. I completely understand that as well too. Growing up, my parents were allowance,
right?
Just everybody hates Chris. I allow you to live. I allow you to take a shower with hot water.
I know. But lucky for me, it wasn't like that. I actually did get an allowance, but I had to do chores and things like that.
Okay.
My mom wasn't stingy or anything. We definitely didn't have a lot of money, but she, like I said, wanted the best for us. So
that's awesome. That's all you can ask in a parent.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. So that was my first experience in
Okay.
entrepreneurship. But my mom never called herself an entrepreneur, right? Like, so today, everybody wants to be an entrepreneur. Everybody wants to be a founder.
She was just a businesswoman.
She didn't even say business. She never even used that language. It was just like, this is
I had
work.
to do
This is
what I
what
had
I got to
to
do. Yeah, that was it. So it wasn't until college where I was exposed to entrepreneurship did I actually think like, hey, this is something I could do. When I got to college, I was an exercise science major. Right? A lot of people don't know that either because they see where I'm at, what I'm doing, like they think I majored in business.
I mean, you probably would never guess what I majored in. I don't know if we've talked about it before.
I don't think so, but I would say, I don't know, agriculture.
Really?
I picked something random.
I mean, it's pretty
Leadership.
fucking close though.
Yeah.
I was environmental science.
Okay. Right.
So it's funny that you say agriculture. I'm
That
like,
is funny.
how
Yeah.
the fuck did you
Cool.
pull that?
All right. So I'm good. I'm good.
But anyways, yeah. So back to.
But no, yeah. So I was majoring in exercise science. I picked that major because my parents kind of persuaded me to pick something in the health sciences space, right? Good paying job is physical therapy. So that was what I was going to aspire to do.
Yeah.
When I got to UD, was taking classes, science classes, math classes. I hated them, right? I wasn't good at them. Didn't care about them to like actually put the effort into it. But then I would find out about like different programs, like entrepreneurial things, like, hey, like you can start working on a business, enter this competition and potentially win money. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, right? Like, it was like, I don't know what my business is. I don't have an idea yet.
But I'll come up with one.
Think of one. Yeah, that's not hard. So that's just what I started doing.
So then, what was your first idea? Was it into a pitch competition, or did you like do something on the side for a little bit?
Yeah, so it was, I guess, kind of on the side when I first started. I was thinking, my freshman year, I was taking these classes, and I was like, okay, so I'm in exercise science, but I really want to be a boss at the end of the day, right?
Of course, that's the
goal. That's the goal. So I was like, all right, so I'm going to work the next 4 years to be able to be like,
I feel like not boss.
Yeah.
Owner.
Yes. But I honestly, I don't think the word owner like clicked in my mind yet. But boss was definitely there. So what I wanted to do was be the person who was like running hospitals.
Gotcha.
Like I wanted basically myself to be in charge of the whole hospital, right? So the whole operations and management.
Why hospital?
Because it tied into health sciences, right? You know what I mean? Like going back to what my parents, you know what I'm saying?
Your mindset as a freshman.
Exactly.
Got you.
So I was like, all right, my major is exercise science. Let me pick something that has to do with that. But I also like business, so I could be the businessman in the hospital.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I started looking into that. And then honestly, at some point, I was like, you know what? Like, what if I started my own business? What would it be? And my first idea was creating a gym. Right? Because my first job in college, actually I'm lying. My second job was at the Little Bob, so the gym on campus. First job was in the dining hall.
Okay.
Grimy job, man.
Really?
Grimy. My dad said it built character.
Probably
I wanted to quit, and he was like, "No, it builds character."
And you probably seen some nasty shit.
Oh yeah, it was gross. Like, when like you eat your food and then you put it on that like conveyor belt to send to the back. I'm the dude in the back, like scraping stuff off, cleaning. Yeah. So it was gross. But it did build character, you know what I'm saying?
And at least you didn't have to do it for too long.
I didn't. But I did have to figure out, okay, if I want to get out of this, I got to find something else.
Yeah.
So I ended up finding out about the gym.
Working at the Little Bob.
Yeah. So I was working at the front desk.
Okay.
And I was like,
That's
you know what?
a way better job.
Absolutely. Clean. Didn't have to touch anything. The dirtiest thing was like people's dirty towels that you had to take to wash.
Yeah.
That wasn't even that bad. But
compared to what you were doing before, yeah.
Exactly. But when I was working in the gym, it was like, you know what? I would love to start my own gym, right? But my twist on it would be I want to give back to the community. I care a lot about charity. I care a lot about like organizations that make a difference in the world. So I was like, all right, so if I start a gym, how can we help people get fit? Because we know that, in our country, there are a lot of people who are obese, a lot of people who are just unhealthy. But the gym is a place where you can go to solve some of those problems. So I was like, all right, so how are we going to motivate people to come in? And I was like, all right, so I'm going to create a gym, and it's going to be called Get Fit USA. And Get Fit USA was basically a gym. You would come in.
Sounds so
and
patriotic.
Word. I was like, they're gonna love it. They're gonna love it. We're gonna have red, white, and blue. Like, they are gonna be all over
Sounds
this.
like it should be marketed on Fox.
Yo, it would have been perfect. It would have been absolutely perfect. I was like, I don't think I'm the target demographic that would benefit from this.
They're like, this guy runs this?
Right. But that was like, I guess now that we're talking about it, like my first
idea.
It was my first idea, but it was also the first time I like assessed the market.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It was like who are the people who would come into this, right? How do you market to those types of people?
Okay.
And that whole like playing off the whole America thing, like patriotism, blah blah blah. But yeah. So anyway, that eventually turned into So the gym, people would come in, exercise. You'd come in, go to a machine, lift weights, and how I was gonna have it was like, for every like rep that you did, you could earn like credits, and those credits were gonna be converted to like donatable dollars.
Mm-hmm. Or like prizes.
But it was all of the prizes and like awards were
Donations.
to give away.
Oh,
yeah.
that's
so that was the
interesting.
whole premise of it. Yeah.
That's pretty cool though.
Come in and get fit for a cause. That was the whole.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's like Tom's giving away a free pair of shoes and everybody.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Exactly.
I think that could have definitely worked.
Well, so I kept thinking about it, right? Throwing it around, talked to some people about it. One of the challenges was like, okay, so I need some kind of device to put on machines, to measure things. I need to buy my own gym. Like, that's a big thing, too, that I couldn't do as a freshman in college.
Yeah, of course.
But then, anyway, the idea, started to change and evolve, and it became an app. Yeah, so I was like, okay, we can create a fitness app.
So you made an app for it.
So we started building an actual app. Yeah, one of my good friends from freshman year was a programmer, so he joined the team. So it was myself and my buddy, and he started coding the thing. And at that point, I had no idea of like, in the startup space, like you have to find a co-founder and find somebody that can actually code for you. Like that wasn't my thought process. I was just like,
how the fuck does this
come
to part?
Let's
like,
just do it. Yeah,
I'm gonna make it happen.
Right, that was it.
I want a gym and I want it now.
Yep. And we did like different programs at UD.
To see if it would like be good.
Yeah, so like there's
Like
one program
house.
called First Step, right?
Mm-hmm.
So First Step is like kind of like a year-long program where you apply, you get into the program, they give you, they may have given like a small stipend to start working on some things, but then basically you're working on your business for the first semester, then halfway through the second semester, there's a big like presentation day, and that's the day where basically you go to Star Campus, right? Every startup has a big poster where you're talking about like what your business is. If you have like a prototype or a working product or whatever, like you can showcase it. And then they invite the community to come in and like judge you. So they have like really big name people from the university, big name people from the community coming in. They're looking at what everyone's working on, and then they vote on like the top 3 people. And then those people like get to pitch at the end of the event. But yeah, so that was my first time ever getting into one of those types of programs, and did not make it to the top 3, right? Like definitely like basically failed at the event, right? It was like nobody cared about what we were working on. Nobody was like, hey, like I want to help you out. Nobody was like, we heard like, this is a great idea, blah, blah, blah.
No real solid feedback. Though.
No real solid feedback.
So, that's awesome though, because then you took that as fuel.
Yeah,
obviously.
Absolutely. And then did the program for the next 3 years. Never won once, never placed, never advanced to the next stage, but kept going back, man, and just kept learning.
And you did better each time.
Did better every single time. Yep. So
then finally you won.
Never won.
No,
not with. That was called Goodfoot. So
okay. With that one.
That one never won. But
did you finish the app and everything?
We didn't finish it. We were building it out. Just working in college.
If you don't mind me asking, how much did you put towards it to build?
Money?
Yeah.
No money.
No money?
No, just time.
Oh, word. So your roommate hooked it up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was working on it, man, and it was dope because like when you think about like when you're in college, like those types of things you can use for like your portfolio and your resume and things like that. So we weren't even building it to say like, oh, let's do this and make a lot of money. It was like, yo, let's just create something that can make a difference. So yeah, we didn't invest, I don't think, a cent into developing the app.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Complete learning experience for free.
Absolutely. Yeah.
See?
That's it.
innovate like him.
Yeah. So and you know,
if you have anything to say to the audience about doing that, what would you suggest? Any tips, like taking an idea from the start, from in your brain, to finally seeing it come to fruition, like on paper or in an app, some type of software, everything, and then going to pitch it, like that's a huge transition.
Yeah, so,
especially from never doing anything in business.
True. And for me, so my mindset, right, was like I wasn't thinking of it from like a business perspective, which may have been to my detriment a little bit. But that's what helped me get over that hump that would stop a lot of other people. Yeah. I just wanted to just get started, right? I just wanted to start building something I thought could create value for other people. So I guess the first thing, I would love to share is just like you said, getting those ideas out of your head and just starting to work on them. What I didn't do at the time, which is crucial to being a successful entrepreneur, is you have an idea. And you may want to start building it immediately, but you got to start testing it with your target customers, right? Of course. Do people actually want to use what you're building? And at the end of the day, we never actually validated that, right? Like we can talk about this concept, we can pitch it. Sounds
no one wants it.
Yeah, it was like, do people tell you actually want to use it? Maybe not, right? Yeah. So that was a critical step that we never actually did.
So when you started going through that process, you found out people didn't really want it?
No, so I think that's kind of what... that's kind of where it stopped. Like I think people say like insanity is doing the same thing. And like,
over and over. Right. Expecting different results.
And we were doing the same thing. We were making progress, but we were not talking to our target customers and validating that. So we kept like building on the thing. Our presentation got better and better year after year. But like
and you did that all throughout until senior year?
That was until about like junior year.
Junior year, okay. Yeah. So then you dropped, you're like, all right, it's not working, drop that. What was, where did you go from there? Yeah,
so, and it wasn't even like something in my mind where I was like, I'm going to stop working on this thing. It was like, I have learned so much from doing these like competitions and these programs.
Make a bigger impact doing something else.
I was like, and I thought about like the general community around here. I was like, we need to have a program like this, like in the city, like kids who are like in the city who don't have access to these same opportunities
don't even know about this stuff.
They don't know about this stuff, and I know for me, like being able to be developed through these programs, like developing my leadership skills, my presentation skills, all
having
that awesome
different
stuff,
experiences that build character,
all of that from just like working on an idea, pitching it to other people. I was like, we need to do something like this in the community. So that's when I started working on a pitch competition of my own. So that became like my next venture, right? So it wasn't like I thought about my previous app and was like, you know what, we're gonna scrap this. But it was like, let me take what I've learned thus far and do something with that, right? So the Goodfoot app, like that went to like the back burner, but it was never in my mind where I was like, all right, like that's over with, Okay. So then I created basically what's called the I Have a Dream pitch competition. And that started from me just, like I said, thinking about the young men in the community, especially young men of color, right, who I know could really benefit from an opportunity to present their ideas. I know that young people in the community are creative and innovative and entrepreneurial.
They need an outlet.
And they need an outlet, right? And I had that assumption internally, right? I didn't go out in the community and ask young kids like, hey, like, do you need an outlet? But I was like, I just have a strong feeling that this is what people want.
And so, just being out here, you can see it.
Absolutely. And just I was doing like different nonprofit like work and volunteering things here and there, and I knew that not only would the kids benefit, but I knew that the moms in the community, like they want the best for their kids. So it was just like all these things were just adding up. So what I ended up doing was like partnering with a nonprofit to actually bring my pitch competition, which I developed from like everything I learned, and hosting it during a week celebrating MLK Day, right? So there's a week-long series of events hosted around MLK Day every year, and I was like, what I want to do is create an event during that week that focuses on entrepreneurship and creativity. So we created a pitch competition called the I Have a Dream Pitch Comp, and
how long did it take for you to set all that up?
Man, it was so funny because like it probably took about like 2 or 3 months to get it all together. Nah, and it was like I know it's
especially for as successful as it was though. Like that's that's not a lot of time period.
It was awesome. But yeah, so like the main things I was like, okay, pitch competition. Like,
what was the most awesome part about it?
The most
to you?
Yeah, the most awesome. It was just the feeling in the room, right? So it was you could feel
the
like
excitement
and just like the community coming together and celebrating these young men who were in the community who were entrepreneurial, right? And who
it was only guys.
It was specifically for young men of color. First year was ages 8 to 21 actually. Yeah, so it was specifically for young men because the week-long series of events was focused on young men of color. But the feeling in the room was just like wow, like look at how innovative these young kids are. Look at how as a community we're coming together to celebrate them. And I just remember like a mom coming up to me and her child presented in the pitch competition and he placed third, sorry. But I remember her coming up to me and she grabbed my arm. She like grabbed my arm and she was like, thank you. She was like, thank you and we need you. Like look me in the eyes.
What?
And like
that must have been so chilling.
Yeah, it was like wow.
Just thinking about it, I kind of get goosebumps. Honestly.
Yeah, it was, but it was like that's what I did it for.
That's influence.
Yeah, that's what I was doing it for.
That's awesome.
So it was amazing. So now the competition is an annual competition. Started it my senior year, so back in 2017.
And that was a little girl that came up to you?
That was a mom.
Oh,
that was the mother of one of the kids.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can't get a better feeling than that. Honestly.
You really can't. But that just instilled a lot of like a feeling of responsibility in me.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So everything I do, I kind of take that same energy and try to put it into that.
Of course. That's what you have to do.
For sure.
Like, I'm trying to put it into work because I've had that feeling before as well too, and it's like no other.
Yeah.
And I guess you said it the best, and it's like you feel just responsible now.
Yeah.
To continue being the person that you are, doing the things that you're doing, to affect the community in a larger stance.
Yep.
Because you want to get that feeling every single time you walk down the street.
Right.
Like, yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily about the feeling,
right,
but knowing that you have that impact.
Absolutely.
That people are willing to, to show you their grace.
That's it. I think the word is purpose. That's how I would. That's how I would describe it.
I was wording it wrong.
Yeah. No. We had to get to it. But I think the word is purpose. Like, and that's something you have to find. Like, if you listen to like a Garry V type of motivational speaker, they might tell you like, find your purpose. Maybe Garry V won't say find your purpose. He's more of like just go do it.
Just hustle.
Go make it happen.
Yeah.
But a lot of motivational speakers will say find your purpose, and that's such a hard thing to do. But when you just start creating things, start putting things out there, start trying new things that you think are interesting, you'll eventually find your purpose. Like you don't have to just think like, oh, by like tomorrow I need to like know what my purpose is. Like it takes time. Like it took me.
And it's not gonna smack you in the face and like, hey, this is what
you're
meant to do.
Your purpose. Yeah.
I'm over here.
Right. But you will figure it out if you start taking steps along that journey.
What do you think your purpose has been, or is? Do you know? Do you know yet? Do you feel like you know?
I feel like I have a purpose to, at least entrepreneurially, empower entrepreneurs. Like that is my purpose from like a business perspective. And then just in general, just like in life, it's just empowering other people. Like that.
In what ways?
In any way. So that's why when I picked my major for college, I knew I wanted to help people, right? I said I'm going to do that through physical therapy. I'm going to be an exercise science major so I can become a physical therapist so I can help people get better through their, physical and like to become like healthy. Yeah. So that was me taking like my first steps to figuring out my purpose. Like I knew I wanted to help people, but when I started exploring it through that lens, like I realized that's not the way I want to help people. That's not the way I can best use my talents to help people. So I found through exploration and entrepreneurship, like, hey, I can empower people through creating programs, through creating, startups.
To help them empower themselves.
Exactly. That's it.
And that's even more empowering. You can, what's the saying? You give a man a fish, he eats for a day. You teach a man a fish, he eats for life.
Yep. Yes, sir.
Pretty much boiled down.
That's it. I agree.
So you're teaching people how to fish, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Like, that's really dope.
Yeah.
Because now you're like Ivan says, you're a famous mentor now.
Man, I guess so. I guess. I mean, yeah, it's like, and I won't call myself a mentor. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just Garry. Like, I'm just here to help. You know what I mean? But yeah, just through like what I've started doing, you know what I mean? Just from going out and just trying new things and learning literally every single day, I've become someone that other people look to for guidance and inspiration, and you know that's now my responsibility to like make sure that I follow through and execute on my mission and my purpose.
How do you handle that?
Man, I mean, it can be tough at times, right? So like,
do you ever feel like the pressure is like too much sometimes, or?
I don't feel like the pressure is too much, but like literally what in Spider-Man they say, with great power becomes great responsibility, right? Like that kind of flashes in my mind sometimes.
Okay.
I don't ever feel like overwhelmed with responsibility. Growing up, like, you know, I'm the oldest sibling in my family.
Are you ever like, oh my God, like I hope I don't like let these people down type thing?
I never think of it as like I hope I don't let these people down, but I now I go into things like, yo, you can't lose. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't lose. You need to win. Like,
no option.
Like, you have to win this. Like, I won a pitch competition in LA a few months back, right? And like, I remember, thank you. Mm-hmm. Took a lot just to get to that point, right? A lot of failures.
Was that one in San Francisco?
That one was in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So I won a competition in LA with some YouTubers who put that together. And then last year I won a pitch competition in Texas.
In Texas.
Yeah.
So are those the only two you've won?
First place wins, yeah. I have 2 first place wins. I won second place as a part of a team last year at UD. We actually won almost $17,000 in a pitch competition.
Shit. First step, what?
Word. Yeah, so
4 years failing, fuck out of here,
right,
yo.
Right. Just took time to get there, you know what I mean? Learning and making progress. That's it. If you look at your failures as learning opportunities, like,
of course you can't go wrong.
You can't go wrong. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, man.
So you said what total? You have 3 first place wins, 2 first place wins,
and then 2 second place wins.
So then what's the next pitch competition that you're going to be a part of? Not that you're
yeah. So
we're going to get to that in a second too, though.
Competitions. I don't have any competitions coming up. I've been applying to different like accelerators for myself.
Talk a little bit to the crowd about that. Like, what's the process like applying to Accelerator? What do you have to do in order to even be looked at as a qualifier? What it's like going there, like, so yeah.
Accelerators. So I guess I should define what an accelerator is first, right? So an accelerator is basically, you can think of it as like a boot camp for you as an entrepreneur, for you as a startup founder. It's called an accelerator because this program, over the course of typically 12 weeks, is going to accelerate the growth of your company, right? So typically when you apply to an accelerator, they invest a certain amount of funds.
Okay.
So one of the top accelerators in the country is Y Combinator, and I think
heard of them.
Yeah. So I think they're based in Silicon Valley, San Francisco, and I believe that they invest $120,000 into startups who are accepted to their program.
Wow.
But
that's before any of the prize money.
So yeah. So accelerators don't really have prize money. So accelerators are different from pitch competitions. Okay. Right? So if you think of a pitch competition, that's like a one-day event, right? Maybe you have to apply to get into it. If you make it to the top 5, you pitch, and they'll select the top 3 to win money.
Gotcha.
Right? You win your money right then and there. You do what you want to do with your money.
Okay.
An accelerator is different because you have to apply to get into it. It's usually a very rigorous like application process because they want like the top startups, right? They want companies who, if they're bringing you in and they're training you and they're investing some money into you to grow,
they know you're gonna pop.
They want you to pop, right? So they're gonna do everything in their power over the course of 12 weeks to
get you to that,
help you to get to that point, right? So it's all about gaining traction, which is about like increasing your sales, increasing your users, bringing in new customers, all that type of stuff.
Okay.
So these accelerators are designed to help you as a startup founder, you and your team, to get to that point. So anyway, these like top accelerators will invest, say, $100K plus, and over the course of the 12 weeks, use that money to grow and to learn and to scale your company up. So accelerators, that's another differentiator between like accelerators and like, you know, these aren't like programs at your local business center, right?
Yeah.
These are for startup companies like Ubers or Airbnb, something that's going to have
companies.
It's going to be a huge company.
Tell us a little bit about your accelerator, because you said it's an accelerator. It's not a.
It's not a pitch competition.
It's not a pitch
right?
competition.
It's not an incubator.
Not an incubator.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that and what it entails.
For sure.
And what makes it different.
Absolutely. So I guess to start, defining what an accelerator is. An accelerator is a program typically it takes place over the course of 12 weeks or 3 months. And it's called an accelerator because it's put together by some organization or entity that wants to accelerate the growth of you and your company, right? So if you're in the startup space, startups are not supposed to be startups like for the rest of their life, right? Like you're starting up and you're trying to like get the engine going. To become a company, right? Scalable company, profitable company.
Yeah.
So the accelerator model, the accelerator model is trying to accelerate your growth from like just getting started to getting to that point where like your business model is like on point and like you have recurring revenue, you've got customers coming in.
Everything is right on track.
Everything is good to go, right on track. So the accelerator, right, it brings in mentors, you get education, and typically you get a form of investment. So one of the top accelerators and probably one of the first in the country is called Y Combinator, which is based in San Francisco, Silicon Valley. And they're like one of the leaders in the accelerator space, startup space in general. But they invest about $120,000 into the accelerators that they accept into each of their cohorts.
Sheesh.
A lot of money, right? But at the same time, it's not a lot of money, right?
Of course not. In the grand scheme of things, it's minuscule.
Man, so
the money they have.
For the money they have out there,
they shit out $120,000.
Right. So in 12 weeks, like imagine like somebody giving you 12 weeks and like you run out of it in 3 months, and that's kind of like understandable. Like that's like kind of the vibe out there. But that's the whole premise of an accelerator, right? So they're trying to get you to the point where at your graduation, which is usually called demo day, you're going to stand up on a stage and you're going to present your pitch deck, much like Shark Tank.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of investors from like all over the country.
A lot of
maybe
sharks.
even around a lot of sharks.
Some blood in the water.
Definitely blood in the water. But this is like your opportunity to get on stage, talk about your company, talk about like the progress you've made in the accelerator, and then you usually provide an ask. So these companies, right, they've been given this initial investment and they've grown over 12 weeks. Now they need to raise even more money. Maybe they need $1 million to get to the next stage, right? So they make that ask after they pitch. And since...
Do they normally ask for that amount and give a certain percentage with that amount that they're asking?
For sure.
Or there are a lot of times where investors will break it up?
So the investors, right, this is... Sometimes people think that like if a company gets investment, say they invest $1 million, they think, okay, now I'm rich. Like if I get an investment, $1 million, I have $1 million company, like I'm rich. Not the case. So this investor, if they're investing $1 million into your company, they're investing because they're business people, right? They want a return on their investment. And especially if you're out in San Francisco, they want like 10x plus, 10 times what they initially invested. So if I give you $1 million and invest that into your company, I want in 5-10 years, $10 million at least, right? And then it becomes your job as the entrepreneur, the founder of the company. You're basically, that's now your boss. Like,
really
your boss is like, you got to return this money, right?
Weight on shoulders.
Weight on your shoulders, right? So you usually do have to give up like equity in your company. It's usually a percentage. So actually, a lot of accelerators, in exchange for that initial investment, they will take a percentage. So Y Combinator's percentage might be like 6%. So in exchange for 6%, we'll
just
train
being
you.
a part of that, they take a percentage.
Yeah, so
and that's not even guaranteeing.
It's not guaranteeing like success or anything like that.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so you have to think if I'm an entrepreneur and I want to get into an accelerator, you have to weigh your options, right? So there are a lot of accelerators out there.
And I see where your mind is at in not creating something that needs an accelerator, but creating the accelerator, because then you could take that 6%,
well,
whether it's 6 or 7.
True, but so
I'm saying long run.
Yeah, long run, right? But like for me, right? I'm like, yo, I see my job as helping these entrepreneurs.
Of course. That's first and foremost.
That's first and foremost. So what I did was I literally traveled all across the country, and I learned from entrepreneurs all over the place, different startup communities, different programs, and I was like, yo, like we need something like that in our community. We don't have an accelerator in Delaware.
Yeah.
So I created what's called the First Founders Accelerator, right? And I had to spin it a little bit differently, right? So my spin on the accelerator model was, it's called the First Founders Accelerator because for a lot of these people, this is their first time starting a company. This may be their first time, of course, participating in an accelerator. This literally is the first accelerator of its kind in Delaware. But then it's called First Founders because it's all about the founders. It's all about accelerating the growth of the founder. I don't even care what your business is. If you're a dope person, you're trying to solve a problem in the community, you're committed to your business, like we're going to accelerate the growth of you. Mm-hmm. So in my accelerator, we don't take equity in any of the companies, right? Okay. So typically these companies aren't even at a place where you could take equity if they want to.
Yeah. I wasn't saying that you could.
No, but
to do that now. I was.
But no, that's smart. So in a different market,
I had just seen the brilliance of of what they did. And I was like, oh my gosh, and they have hundreds and hundreds of companies year after
Absolutely.
year.
No, so that's their business model. So if you think about like, okay, if I could start a business, do I want to start a business that helps other businesses become successful? Accelerator makes sense to do that. How do you make money? Of course, you can charge people to be a part of it. That's one way.
Yeah.
But a lot of these businesses don't have the money to pay you right now. But they're saying, hey, in the future, we can be really, really big, really successful. Then we'll pay you back.
Yeah.
That's when you take equity, right? So you think about a company like, I believe Airbnb went through an accelerator, probably Y Combinator.
Really?
Yeah. So that is a huge company now, right? So now the accelerator has been paid back because the company is, I believe Airbnb is on. Is Airbnb publicly traded? Maybe not.
I want to say yes.
Lyft just IPO'd, right? Uber did.
Yeah.
Okay. So
actually, you're probably right.
Lyft is on the stock market now.
Is it?
Uber is about to be.
No, Uber is.
Uber is.
Yeah.
Either way.
I know Uber is for sure. I was saying you're probably right about the
Airbnb.
Not being on there.
Gotcha.
But I know Uber is.
Got it. Okay. So
because they've been losing
that's right.
So much
that's
money.
Right. Yeah. But yeah. So regardless of what they're doing now, with the stock market, the accelerator type of model helps you get to that point. And then when you're publicly traded, the investors get paid back.
Okay.
Right. So. There were companies and investment firms that invested in Uber from the very, very beginning, maybe as little as $20,000, and now Uber is worth I don't know how much money, but these investors are making hundreds of $1 million off of their initial investment of $20K, right? Because they saw the vision, but they also helped Uber get to where it is today. So the accelerator model gives you the mentors, gives you the education. So anyway, I wanted to create that same type of opportunity for entrepreneurs in our community, but to do it in a way that was okay, everybody here isn't working on the next Uber, right? Yeah. They're just working on their dream. They want to start a business and they need help to get to the next level. So that's what the First Founders Accelerator is going to do.
You're providing them with that whole experience.
The whole experience. They get the same thing. I literally take lessons and things like that from Y Combinator and from some of the top accelerators.
And I went. It was cool.
I appreciate it. But yeah, and
it was just
it was a good little
event.
Yeah.
Ivan made sure to tell me about it.
And that was demo day. So you saw the end result.
Oh, okay.
You saw the end result when everybody got to get up on stage and present their startups to the community. But through the previous 12 weeks, these startups were going through it, right? So we had.
I bet it was some crazy times.
It was. I guess they would probably describe it that way.
How would you describe it?
I would describe it as. It was a process. That's exactly it. So one of our principles is trust the process, right? So on day one, I tell them, hey, this is a totally new experience for you. it's a totally new experience for me. I've never run an accelerator before, but I've studied enough. I've been in them.
Felt confident enough to do so.
Yeah. So.
And it ran well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But the process is like, yo, like from day one, if I'm starting a business, right? Am I solving a real problem, addressing a real need? Like, we make sure that you're doing that. Then we help you design your business model. Like, who are your target customers? How are you going to make money? What is your market size? Like, if you want to become a company that's on the stock market, like Uber, you have to have a huge market size, huge market potential. So we help them assess their market size, right? And week after week, we're going over these different lessons, and they're putting in the work to incorporate that into their own businesses. And then all of that information goes into their pitch deck, which is what you saw at Demo Day. Gotcha. And they present it. But it literally was a process. It's not a smooth process. Nobody says it's an enjoyable process. At the end, when you graduate, like, it's like, oh my goodness, I did it. But while you're going through it, it's like, it's a boot camp, right? It's like, yo, like, did you
get shit done?
Get it done. Like, you come into class on Saturday. Ivan was there. It's like, yo, like, did you do your homework? Like, where's your pitch deck, right?
Yeah.
Like, there were other different assignments they had to do.
What would happen if they didn't have something done on the deadline that they're supposed to?
Yeah. So I was like super lenient, right? I wasn't gonna. There's really nothing I could take away from them.
Yeah.
There was graduation, right? So doing your homework and showing up to class meant that you could participate in Demo Day, right?
Okay.
Everyone had to pay $100 to be a part of the program. As long as you graduated, you got your money back.
Okay.
That was the deal. Pretty good deal, right? It's basically a free program as long as you graduate.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
with the amount of time that you put in.
For sure. But it's like one of the things that would go against them, right, if they didn't do their work, right? It wasn't really anything I had to do. These were all members of like a cohort now, like a little family holding each other accountable. So if you showed up and were like everybody else did their pitch deck and they get up to present and you're like, oh, actually I didn't do it. Like everybody's looking at you like you don't have it together.
Slacking.
You're slacking, and that's embarrassing.
Yeah.
So more than anything else, it's embarrassing, and they're like,
the
all right,
worst turn off.
Yeah. So they're okay. I gotta get my stuff together. So that was like basically me giving
the kick in the ass.
Yeah, for sure.
For lack of better words.
No, absolutely. And it was like, and I was proud of myself too, because at the same time, I was building my own startup. I was building my company, which is called NoCap, while I was running an accelerator, helping other people build their own startups. So I'm teaching them week after week, like how to pitch, right? How to master your pitch. And then literally halfway through, I made it to the top 5 in a pitch competition in LA. And I come back like that Saturday. I was like flying all over the country throughout this program. But I
remember seeing your Snapchat and Instagram story. I was like, damn,
man,
Gary's all over the fucking place. One minute in San Francisco, the next season in LA. You were in San Diego for a little bit too, right? Like, were you in Florida for a little bit? Texas?
Yep, Texas. And it was all for learning, right? I was going to conferences. I was investing in myself as an entrepreneur.
Like a 6-month time frame?
Yeah, for sure.
That's nice.
But and then
a
it was
lot
like
of those flights too were paid by the.
So while I was in school, I had a lot of flights paid for. But then after I graduated, that was awesome.
I always say if it's for free, then it's for me.
Man, look, I went on so many flights. I once had a hotel on a beach in Santa Monica, California, that was paid for by the university.
Shit.
I was living.
That's love.
But it was all, I was doing it all, it wasn't like, yo, I'm on vacation. It was like, yo, I'm going to a conference to learn. Yeah. I'm going to Inc. Magazine's conference so I can be a stronger entrepreneur.
I shouldn't say work because it doesn't feel like work when.
Yeah, that wasn't work. Yeah. That wasn't work. Now, if I had to like secure clients and things like that, that would have been work. But anyway, where I'm at now, I got to pay for my own stuff. So, luckily enough, since I placed top 5 for the competition
from doing
in LA,
some of this stuff though, like this startup and everything, the state won't give you any like grants to continue like further traveling and learning and shit.
I doubt it. I doubt it.
I feel like they definitely should though.
They should.
We should. The more you grow this, it's gonna benefit the state tremendously.
Absolutely. So I mean, we can see what happens in the future.
Yeah.
But like, so for example, the competition in LA, that was hosted by some YouTubers who have like a serious following on YouTube, Instagram, all that kind of stuff. They flew all of us out.
People, like,
I don't know if people would know the names, but Jackie Aina, she's a big makeup artist. She's based on Instagram and YouTube. On YouTube she just hit 3 million subscribers.
Damn.
A lot.
So
And she
a lot,
has
a
like
lot.
1 million followers on Instagram.
Okay.
So she's big time.
Yeah.
Another one of the judges that she brought in for the competition has like probably 1.5 million followers on
That's
Instagram.
crazy.
So they have made livings off of social media.
Yeah.
So they're big time people. So they flew the top five people out to California to pitch.
To do that.
And this was happening while I was running an accelerator in Delaware. So I flew out. I'm getting my own pitch deck ready to go. I'm like, yo, like I gotta practice what I preach.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, like I can't lose. If I show up to class and I'm like, yo, I lost, that's embarrassing.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
In
I
front
went
of
out.
the people you're coaching.
Right. So I went out and I won the competition.
Good shit.
Came back and was like, everybody was like, so what happened? Like, did you win? And like, I signed an NDA, so I couldn't tell them. I wasn't supposed to tell them. I told them anyway. But
You're supposed to be saying that now.
it's all good. It's all good. It was basically for like, cause it was being put together for like a YouTube video.
Okay.
So the video didn't come out until afterwards. So it was like, all right, don't like let the word get out until the
Right,
video's
the
ready
video's
to go.
done.
Right? But it was like, yo, I can't be. Like I can't be.
Gotta tell
Like they
them.
gotta know. They just gotta know. So I told them.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't affect the video anyway.
No,
it's
it
such a small group.
Absolutely didn't. Yeah, it didn't. But yeah, so I won the competition, and that was like
That's awesome.
validation for me. It was validation for
For
them.
them.
It was
That's a
validation for.
huge keystone in your career
Huge.
as
It was huge.
you know, you're personally and for that startup,
Absolutely.
because then it gives, just like you said, it gives them motivation. Like, oh shit, like we're riding with a winner.
That's right. That's right. That was it, man. That was
But
it.
so full circle, like you got the whole entrepreneurial thing for the minority community. I mean, you started with your aspirations, started with your curiosity and everything. Seeing that there is a void for all of this within Wilmington, Delaware, started the startup, and now you're on to your no cap platform to help people exactly invest in business or pretty much know, like get an education, more of like an education about business. And everything.
Yeah. So No Cap is literally built around education.
KNOW.
KNOWCAPP, right? It's definitely a
Y2
play on
Ps.
words. Y2Ps. So No Cap, NOCAP, right?
KNO.
That's the regular way. So the slang,
Oh,
regular
okay.
you know what I mean, like kids on the street. A way of saying it is no cap, which means like no lie. And why I named my business that was because I was talking to small business owners, and for a lot of these people, they were hearing like really bad advice, right? Like these are business owners who need access to capital to grow their businesses. And unfortunately, in our communities, businesses run by people of color are disproportionately affected by like predatory lending, right? So these are financial institutions coming into a business and saying, "Hey, oh, you need money? Like I'll give you money right now." And usually, like the interest rate,
11% interest rate.
yeah, is crazy. It's usually like 25 plus.
Gosh.
It's up there. A lot of times it's
Like that.
way worse than 25%.
That's rape.
It's horrible. Yeah, and it's like, and that's what's happening in our communities because people don't know that they have other options.
Yeah.
And because people unfortunately are in like these situations where I don't have the money I need right now, but I literally need the money right now to either pay my employees or pay myself or keep my shop open.
Even just, I mean, beyond that, just business wise, like for school, like because I was in a similar situation too with Sally Mae.
Yeah.
I got once I graduated, because I had no clue about any of that.
Mm-hmm.
They hit me with my Sally Mae bill, and all my interest rates were 12%.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, holy shit, paying $1,200 a month in student loans.
Bruh, I'm like living it right now. It's wild.
Ridiculous.
It's wild. So it's like, why I call it No Cap, KNOWCAPP. It's all about knowledge. It's all about helping people understand that, hey, first of all, we want to educate you to make smarter financial decisions. Mm-hmm. We want to educate you to help you know that there are different options available to you. We want to make sure that, okay, if you need a small business loan, are you able to pay this business loan back at a reasonable time? Is it for a reasonable rate? Is the lender or institution you're working with like actually credible? Like things like that are what I'm helping business owners like think through.
How do you plan on doing that? Is it going to be more one-on-one stuff, or is it all videos?
Yeah, so it's a platform, right? So I'm creating a tech company, right, where I would like to remove myself. I would like to sort of mimic the model of being a consultant, but use technology to provide that same value.
Okay.
So basically, I started testing it out. So I created a basic website, super basic website. It would ask the business owner, how long have you been in business? What's your annual revenue? What's your credit score range? And then I would email them myself, because I didn't have the tech on the back end to like automatically send a recommendation. Like I would look at what they said and I would email them and say, hey, thanks for visiting my website. Here's my top recommendation for somewhere to get funding based on your current stage of your business. And then I would start having different conversations with people via email. And I'm now taking all that information and building it into like the actual like software that's going to automate those conversations. So we have like a chat bot that we're building right now where you can go in. It's not launched yet, but launching in August, where a business owner can go on, answer some of those same questions that I mentioned, but then get an immediate recommendation for something. So they can, say in 5 minutes, see, oh, hey, I should check out this local financial institution in my backyard. They provide loans at a reasonable rate and have helped a lot of businesses in the community. Let me see what they can offer to me. And then still having that human factor.
And that chatbot works off of AI, right?
Yeah, so it's a AI-based chatbot. Luckily for us, like where we're at today, a lot of that software is already out there. Yeah. So we're actually building on like Google's platform.
The only reason I had asked that because I was like, are you going to be like plugging in all this information?
Oh, yeah. So there's a lot of work you have to do with a chatbot to get it up and running. Mm-hmm. So you do have to teach the chatbot what to say, tell it what to say, how to respond, give it a persona, right? So I want the chatbot to feel like you're talking to a real person. Of course, the person is going to know, like, this is not a real person, but the user experience is enjoyable enough as if I were actually talking to Garry. Like, that's what I want the experience to be like. So you train the chatbot to say what you want it to say, engage with the user, but then you can, like, basically get to a point where they're having this conversation, they get, like, a few recommendations for resources, and then the chatbot will say, hey, like, if you want to talk to, a member of our team, enter your email, or email, our account here, and then we can kind of take it from there. Gotcha. But ideally, I would like to create the platform that really takes us out of having to do that one-on-one consulting, and actually, like, helps business owners in a really meaningful way.
That's awesome. I like that a lot, yo.
Thank you. So yeah, I mean, like, and that, I've come a long way from my first venture where it was like I designed the whole thing backwards. I started building the platform, we started coding the app, but we didn't talk to real people to understand the problem.
So now you started.
With no cap, literally started without a solution in mind. I had no idea what I was going to work on, but I said, yo, I care about people of color in the community. I care about entrepreneurship and business. Let me go talk to the people of color who have businesses in my community and see what their challenges are. Learn from them, travel to New York, travel to Texas, travel to California, traveled all over.
So while doing all the startups and everything, you're still creating market data?
Yeah, learning. Everything I've ever done, whenever I'm traveling somewhere, like I'm learning. I'm talking to people.
So this company is like your main focus, would you say?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So I created the Accelerator, and that was basically, I would run that every Saturday for 12 weeks. During the week, the founders were expected to make the progress, do the homework, all that stuff, and then we'd meet back up on Saturday. So during the week for me, I'm working on my startup. So I've been pitching my startup all over the place. I've been applying to accelerators. I just graduated from a program in New York, so I had to pitch.
Congrats.
Thank you. I had to pitch. I was in Silicon Valley Bank in New York City. I was one of.
Sounds out of place.
Yeah, but it was dope. Silicon Valley Bank in New York City. But over the course of 9 weeks, man, like I was so like privileged to have been a part of this program, because I was with students from Columbia and Yale and people from Harvard, and we were learning from some of the top investors and entrepreneurs like in the country for 9 weeks. And I still lived in Delaware while I was going through the program. I was still running my accelerator. So I would commute every Thursday, ride the bus. I would ride the Chinese bus from Wilmington. Yup, $20.
Sometimes they give you wontons.
I never got any wontons.
Nah, it's a joke.
Dang, I was about to say, because I'd be on the bus hungry. But I would take the Chinese bus to New York every Thursday, right? Post up in this investment firm in New York. Do my work on my company, network with people. I'm talking, man, amazing people. Like these were the investment firm that I was working from. These were like one of the first investors in Uber. So one of the first investors in Uber. Like imagine how much money they've made, and they've invested in some of the other top startups in the world. But anyway, that was like the caliber of like people I was working with, and just to be like, I'm like, yo, I'm just this kid from Delaware. Like, what do I have to do with like these kids from Ivy League schools and everything? But it was amazing to me. But anyway, so
Delaware's pretty much Ivy League.
Except
they can't be Ivy League.
We call it, UD calls itself like a public Ivy or whatever. Yeah. It's a wannabe. But anyway, but like that didn't stop me, right? Yeah. So it's like, yo, like like a lot of people have like imposter syndrome where you get into a space and it's like, do I really belong here? I'm not like these other people. And you have that, but you have to get over it.
Of course.
So I had to get over it. And we worked through 9 weeks and we were trained by a bunch of really awesome people.
I always feel like wherever you're at,
yeah, you belong.
You belong there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it.
And if you've made it there, you belong there.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
You feel me?
It's really just a mental. It's a mental barrier that a lot of us put up.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it happens to everyone too. Like even Michael Jordan said before his games, even though he had won championships, he would still like get nervous and throw up before games sometimes.
Yep, that's right. That's right.
But real champions, when they get out there, just like you do,
just do it.
Then they win too.
And you win. And you win. Yeah, man. But yeah, so I graduated.
It's not always about winning, though. It's not always about winning. About the lessons learned.
Yeah.
Experiences you create. Yeah. The knowledge you know.
For sure.
Knowledge you procure.
Yep. That's it, man. So yeah, so I've been doing a lot. So you were asking about like what is my main focus. So my main focus is no cap, building that. So like I said, I graduated from that program in New York. Now I have that notch in my belt. Mm-hmm. I'm able to say, like now when I'm out pitching at other places, like, yo, like, did you know I graduated from this program where I was trained by the investors in Uber? Like that's a pretty big deal. So I want to get to the point where I can scale my company up, right? Like I have developers who joined my team, one in Philadelphia and one in Hawaii, and like they're awesome. 2 women developers who are just like crushing it. They're helping me build out the chatbot right now.
That's it.
Yeah, so it's awesome. So I want to scale up my team. I want to like launch this product. Right now, it's like not live. I'm really just like collecting emails.
When do you want to launch it by?
Yeah, so ideally August. August was my initial goal to like launch.
Is that ambitious?
The beta version. It's reasonable. It's reasonable. So the chatbot can be ready by August. So I've had to make some iterations.
And that's the hardest part.
No, it's not. No? It's the easier part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the chatbot is like the easier part. The platform, that's the hard part. So I need like a real like software engineer on the team, probably a few of them. But there's a lot of work I have to do myself to figure
software
out.
Engineers.
We're definitely looking for software engineers. Really
Garry
anybody.
Johnson up.
Yeah, man. At Garry Johnson 3, 2 R's. But I like working with just awesome people who are like mission driven, right? And who just
down to earth.
Figure it out and get it done.
Yeah.
Down to earth is cool too, but that's not always the top of mind. But no, so like I don't want to be in a position. I don't like being in a position where I'm like Garry the boss. Like I have to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. I like working with people where it's like, yo, like what's our mission? Okay, what am I good at? All right, so I'm gonna apply what I'm good at to help us execute on the mission. Like that's a win to me. So those are the type of people I like to work with. So right now I'm like building my team to find more of those types of people. I'm applying the programs. I'm fundraising for my company, I guess. Mm-hmm. So applying for like grants and all that type of stuff. So
that's what's up.
Yeah, man, trying to make it happen.
As you should.
But throughout the whole thing, still I just can't not empower other entrepreneurs. So like I said, I'm gonna be turning what was the physical accelerator into like a online accelerator, virtual accelerator, launching in July. That'll help me basically put my curriculum online and engage with people who are outside of our community. Yep. Continue to empower more people, expand my reach and all that stuff.
How many videos and everything do you want to have on the platform, everything, before you start marketing?
Yeah, so actually...
what are your videos more, or teaching's going to be more centered towards? Like, is it going to be a super wide range of things, or are you mainly going to focus on, like, startups or...
Yeah, so it's...
banking?
So so basically, the online course